Kathleen's going to come up here. Thanks. Usually we come off stage for that.
Yeah, that was
It's
weird.
a lot more dramatic.
It is. You feel a little awkward.
Super fucking awkward when you sit up here and just do it. Kathleen, I think you're going to say a few words.
Are you allowed to swear?
I'm not sure.
You know, I don't even know that really. Do these guys need an introduction?
It's great. Perfect.
Yes, we do. No, we don't. No.
You're awesome. How about that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So are you.
Thank you.
So are you.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Retireholics. Not your typical episode of Retireholics. We are coming at you live from institutional investors. What's the
Yeah, think of the
called?
city. Don't mess up the city.
2021 Southwest Retirement Plan Advisor Summit.
Yeah.
Why do they fucking name these things so long?
How did you remember that?
I don't know. Welcome to everyone here in the audience, and welcome to everyone out there in Zoom world. We're psyched to see you again on another Thursday night.
Except for you, Greg.
We're first of all, we're humbled to be here. Second of all, we are ready to have some fun because it's been over a year, since COVID, that we've been live and on stage. So our last on-stage show was March 2020 in Orlando.
Almost in the day. We flew home the day before the country shut down.
Right.
Yeah.
It was terrifying.
So we're psyched to be back here on stage. Thanks for having us. I'm so psyched, I'm so appreciative that I put pen to paper and I wrote a poem straight from my heart.
You did.
And if it's okay with all of you, I'd like to read it to you guys today. If we could
Is
do
it
that.
okay?
Is that all right?
Come on, Todd, say no.
Okay. All right.
Can you
I
stand
named
up?
this Ode to Institutional Investor. A treat in our inbox one day did I see an email from Cynthia with a question for we. It read, an onstage show for our conference this year? Would you like to partake? We can provide lots of beer. Her vibe was so nice and welcoming too, unaware that we're not a professional crew. She claimed Institutional Investor was the firm that she repped. Yeah, whomever, it's fine. You said free beer, right? We accept.
Yep.
Scottsdale, Arizona, they said that's where you should be. They'll be testing for COVID, so please come virus-free. We don't have COVID. We took the vaccine. But thank God they're not testing for our STDs. The Fairmont Princess, as fancy as it gets. And fancier still will be the speakers and the guests. Phil Troyer will be there, an ERISA attorney that can really kick ass. Where's he at? Oh, there he is. Stick to your poem, JD. Nova Scotia's own George Fraser, too, an advisor with class. Yo, you want a margarita with your 338? Todd Kading is here, and he makes them great. Jason Roberts is an ERISA attorney that lived on a boat. Fred Reich lives in a mansion. #GOAT. Jason hates that. He's not here.
So mad.
Happy he left.
Sorry, Jason. All you 401k freaks, ready, set, go. Enough of this poem. It's time for the show. Big thanks for having us here. Now let's talk 401k. Well, I enjoy my free beer.
It was
Thank
not
you.
free, by the way. I'm going to talk to you.
This is the part of the show where Justin's going to intro a special guest to the stage. And out there in Zoom land, you know what to do. You're going to rate him on 0 to 10 on how well he does. Yeah. I would like for y'all in the audience to partake too. Use your hands, 0, 5, 10.
Just
when you get
yell
10.
it. Just
we'll
yell.
cue you. Yell it. Justin, you know the
For
drill.
any 20s, we'll give you free beer, okay? Anything.
Intro
They get
our
free beer out
guest.
back.
Well, you know, I was really excited about the intro today. It was our first conference in 18 months, almost to the day. I'm back with the boys. We've got an amazing guest, an amazing audience. And Steve Wilk got up here this morning and said everything I had planned on saying. Thanks, pal. So, for those of you who weren't here, she's a collegiate volleyball player. She loves karaoke. She loves competitive kickball.
That's weird.
Is that
all
a
been
thing?
said, by the way.
It's like a third grade sport.
Okay. And she's a diehard Bills fan. In fact, she's such a diehard Bills fan that the BuffaloFanBase.com posted an article crediting her as the first to ever perform the flying elbow on the Rubbermaid table.
Yeah,
There's
no way.
And now it's grown into a national craze. Bet you didn't find that in your research, did you?
I still don't even know what you're talking about.
sports.
Anyways, you all know where you all
The team, go sports!
One of the managing directors for SRP, Erin Hall.
Thanks, guys.
You get the center seat.
I
'cause you're
traded
so
my
important.
heels for flip-flops.
Nice.
Smart move.
Very
So-
smart.
Thanks for having me.
You
I'm
are so
so
smart.
excited to be here.
Second time, right?
No, I've never been a guest on your show.
She came
I'm
on,
just
she
such
was
a
in the after show,
chat
wasn't she?
bar.
After show
After
chat
show.
bar champion.
Yeah.
Well,
We
shame on
are-
us. Took
We're
us too
super
long.
psyched to have you here. We got a lot to talk about. I want to get into a couple of, set the rules for the games for the audience and everyone, and then we'll tap into these beers. But first, let's do a little bit of housekeeping on the games. We're going to play Chat Bar Champion out there in Zoom World, so you guys continue to do what you do in the chat bar. We'll check out the transcripts later. We'll pick a winner. But we'd like to
We
then
won't do
transcend that here to the audience. I don't know what the fuck to call it. It's audience champion. At the end of the show, we will all vote for who our favorite audience member is. There's no rules. I don't know
I feel
how
like it's
they...
actually going to be the least favorite audience member.
Could be.
And they win all the prize, the cash, and all that kind of stuff. So you can all compete for that. We're going to play Acrosin. We're going to play Acrosin,
Okay.
as always. And what that is you cannot say an initialism or an acronym. You can say my name, but nothing else, okay? Things, you know the drill. Things like, you can say it now.
Don't tell us. We know.
Arissa, DOL, whatever. Then you must drink from your penalty drink. Mark,
Yes?
you tell us what is the penalty drink?
It's apricot flavored brandy, and there's no story behind it. We were on a app and we stumbled upon it and said, "That sounds gross." Yes.
Okay.
Purchase.
Oh, man.
Great.
It's $20 well spent.
We're just gonna leave it in JD's lap because we know
Gross.
who's
Does
gonna
anybody
drink
like
most of it.
brandy and just like drinks it? Right.
No.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's perfect.
Especially cheap brandy. All right, Chad, and we're gonna be drinking beer.
Thank goodness you took long enough. We went with a local brew, Santan Brewing Company in Chandler, Arizona. I hear a yep. So we're in for a treat. We had one request from Erin.
Thank you.
Has to be a hazy IPA.
Love them hazy IPAs.
Love them hazies. So
Yep.
that's what we got. It's
Thank
called
you.
Pebblehead. I will let you know what it tastes
Are we
like.
drinking out of
Like-
mugs?
Check it out.
Drinking out of
Yeah,
my
I
mug.
was.
Out of my
Erin,
face?
you don't have a mug.
Okay, I'm not fancy. I am not fancy.
What?
Todd.
Ooh.
What do you
Drink, Todd. Yeah, that's
That is
negative
a-
points for you.
All right, my description.
Sour.
It is kind
What?
of sour. It's
Fruity.
very fruity.
Great
but
fruity
The
almost.
fruit is subtle because the sour
Seemed like a
bites
lot of
you.
work.
I feel like you hid that from us when
I'm
you told
drinking
us
out
we were
your
going to
face,
like
just
this.
so
I
you
don't
know.
drink sours. It doesn't say it's sour. It is described as.
It's this perfect balance of sweet and sour. Kind of right there on the can.
I don't read things other than disclosure.
To be fair, it is quite small.
It says
Thank goodness
not
we
a
have
sour.
someone
I don't know what you're
intelligent on
talking
the show.
about. It's a hazy IPA with senses of tart flavors. Dang it! And stony fruit, tangerine,
It's delicious.
and passion fruit
Check.
balances. I'm gonna go take my shot now.
It's delicious.
All right, good to go. Let's dive straight into topic number one. And I know a lot of stuff's been covered today. Maybe we'll give a different, more drunk spin on it. Who knows? Maybe we'll get some value out of this. But Erin, I recently actually used this piece to help an advisor I was working with. You wrote a bit on cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Little white paper thing. I love it.
Thanks.
Can you summarize it for us? Like, why now? Why are we interested in cybersecurity? And what are some of the little highlights for that? And then we'll dig deeper.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I assume everyone knows about the April 2021 cybersecurity guidelines, right? Not regulation, but guidelines.
Who did those?
The Department of Labor.
Man,
I am definitely going to suck at this later, but.
Oh, we got a pro.
So, was that the only reason you asked the question? So
No.
I would mess up accuracy?
it's a bait.
It's a bait. Well, you know, the purpose behind it, I think, makes a lot of sense. Participants were suing their plan sponsors and then record keepers when nobody would respond when they're losing six-figure balances from bad actors being able to abscond with their life savings. And smart of Department of Labor to
Big word. You gotta bring it down.
We wrote it down so we can look it up later,
Did you just
though.
say abscond? No clue what that means.
well,
Not even you.
one of my
can't
takeaways
even
earlier
spell
was
it.
lawyers have good vocabularies. Was one of my takeaways. I
Yeah,
wrote
I'm
down.
not a lawyer, if you can tell. I'm wearing a robe.
In case you didn't know,
Walk away with.
Mark's job is to distract you a
Right,
lot.
yeah, I
Try to
appreciate
keep
it.
on track.
I appreciate it. So these guidelines I thought were fantastic. 3 parts, one for the participant, one for the record keepers, but the most important, I think, for us as those who advise our clients was on the plan sponsor's responsibility to vet their providers as to their capabilities in regards to cybersecurity, because as it was mentioned earlier at our fabulous conference here, all record keepers and the way that they go about managing cybersecurity, it's not the same. So yeah, I wrote the white paper. We defined some of the issues, some of the court cases that started all this. And what I found really interesting was, they said, hey, you should ask your record keeper a bunch of questions, and then here's how you should evaluate your record keeper. And I have found that 4 of the 6 are pretty easy. 4 of the 6 are relatively easy. The 2 that I think are the most interesting, one is you have to not only ask your record keeper and understand what they do, but understand how that compares to others in the industry.
Don't we do enough benchmarking already?
So,
that's actually
great question.
tough to do.
Isn't that hard? So think about it. The industry itself, record keepers, have done a great job at pushing all of their information to you, right? You've all got the PDF in your in-bin of...
Boom!
Wait, wait.
Keep,
Want me to
keep
pour
your
it?
thought.
Yeah,
keep
PDF?
your thought.
There's not... That's,
No, you said it
You
again.
said it again.
You can't follow it up.
Finish your thought.
wow. Portable document format. Holy cow.
Oh my. Okay, you get 10 points.
right.
10
That's a
points.
10 point for
All
the
right.
audience.
No clue what PDF's in.
Wow.
That was a triple, so
Oh, jeez.
Finish your thought. We
You
got
said
to
it was
go.
delicious. I'll finish the thought.
Is the whole
So the record keepers are pushing out the collateral about how great they are, and that's great, but how do you then
That's very
compare that in a meaningful way to all the others in the industry? So that's number one that I thought was really interesting, and an opportunity for all of us to show our value, to say,
Can I ask, am I naive to think
Yes.
that Principal, Nationwide,
delicious.
Voya, Empower, the list goes on, and I'll drink for this. Whatever SOC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 they have, my assumption is they all have that shit pretty much well
Nope.
covered.
Oh,
That's
you
not
did? Sorry.
true. Okay, can you pour me
Nope.
one of this?
but that,
Can.
that may be true for the
You're not able
large
to
names
move?
that you mentioned, but it's not true for some of the smaller, quaint providers that are
Pour it
out
up
there.
a bit. I'll keep
I don't think they're all
I
getting table
think you'd be
stakes.
shocked.
You really?
It's actually
the
not
large
bad.
providers
Not
you
gonna lie.
think aren't checking those boxes.
There are a number of providers that are not doing a SOC 2 type 2.
I knew that was going to be a bad one.
Which I would think, hopefully
No.
we can all agree is the best in class audit type.
It should be kind of an MVP. Almost.
Oh,
went there.
no.
Minimum
Oh,
viable
said
product.
2 or 3.
I didn't get
said
that.
2 or 3.
Check swing,
You said
check
2 or
swing.
3. That's check.
That's a check swing.
Got the check
I mean,
swing.
I'm
that's
gonna
gotta
aggro sin
be a
on purpose.
baseline.
This is
Okay,
great.
Aaron,
we
Aaron.
can't
Yeah.
we can't spend.
Is
No.
it because it's so new? Why are they not rushing out to do it yet? Is it because it's not a rule?
Yes. No, it's not a rule. I don't know that they're not doing it because it's not a rule. And I do believe that one of the great things of this guidance is that because they're going to be compared to their peers, I think we're going to find next year a lot of them are doing
Sure,
those,
it'll be a race.
But
to
many of
show
their
how
peers
good it
were
is.
already doing this
Yeah,
years
but,
ago.
But who talked about cybersecurity before
Nah,
April?
You're lying if you were.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
No big deal.
To some degree, but
Not
to the,
for
to the
work,
extent
but
of what
just
type
general.
of audit that they have and how that compares to others, I think this in-depthness.
Do we know those 4 cases in your white paper, the actual instances where a participant money had been stolen from them? Thanks, Brandon.
Awesome.
Do we know how those occurred, and did those come through a lack of these system and organizational controls 1, 2, and 3, or did those come maybe through actual flesh and bone through a participant
Yeah.
who made a mistake, or
Yeah.
do we have any idea?
Great question. my understanding is that most, if not all of these, were not, again, through the front door of a hack.
Right,
You know,
right.
What's the name of the Alight Solutions, for example? Did they get hacked through the front door? No, what happens most commonly is your information, just like mine, is out there on the dark web. A bad actor gets a hold of it, and they call every record keeper and impersonate you.
There's the guy that did it.
That guy.
I'm not gonna lie. When you're a good criminal, you don't do anything through the front door.
No.
That's not the
So-
point of being a criminal.
Not at all. So what's interesting is when we went down the rabbit hole of looking at vendors was to take a look at what are your protections in the call center. And this is where a ton of differentiation occurs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some vendors are like, we know your PIN, where you are, where your IPS address is. We can hear the stuff going on.
That's
We
one.
can hear what's going on in the background if your voice.
Yeah, that one.
I
Thank
love
you.
this guy.
My God.
Wow. My own
Hey,
personal
hey, hey.
Acrosin dictionary. I appreciate
I'm
it.
gonna go ahead and
Whatever. Oh, never mind.
Yes, please. I'm at this point. I'm acrosinning on purpose. This is actually
It's
delicious.
not bad, huh? It's actually,
Yeah, I'm not mad about it at all.
Next time, bring Malort, and I
it's
won't say
actually
anything.
better than a beer.
So,
1, 2, 3, drink.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So in the call center, really neat technology, but that is a huge, maybe the biggest disparity that I found. Of some are just like, oh, what's your, what street did you grow up on, and what's your mother's maiden name, and okay, sounds good. And others are like, you sound distressed because you're not answering our questions fast enough, so now you need to answer them.
Best thing you've heard from those record keepers that they're doing in the call center to stop this. I've got a thought because
The coolest tech kind
it
of
was
thing?
friggin' cool. Yeah,
Like,
tech-wise.
why are you putting her on the spot? Why don't you just fucking
No,
tell us?
Because I'm curious if she has a better story
right.
behind it.
There's an acronym there.
Ooh,
Maybe.
Call center?
No, you're fishing.
Yeah, the cool.
Oh, no, not. You
I
wanna
thought
know?
the coolest piece that I heard was the ability to understand if you're distressed or answering questions in a slow manner, which through technology and through whatever this technology does, it assesses if you're being
Voice
fed
tone and fluctuation,
if you're
yeah.
being fed information or having to look up, what's my mother's maiden name? Like, you should know that.
Yeah, incredible.
White.
For me, it was the background noise.
Yeah.
That is, they're listening
listening to the
so
background.
deep to
Yep.
see if there's any noises in the
Whispers.
background that aren't normal for a home setting and an evening
whispers.
type call. And
Yep.
they
I don't
displayed
buy
a whole
that.
bunch of
That
samples.
seems a bit of like how,
Incredible.
How do
Cool.
you do that though? I mean, how do you go through that training as a person?
It's
Oh, no,
not-
it's technology.
technology.
It's
Paying attention to what we're
technology.
talking
For
about.
sure. My bad. I'm an
Super
idiot.
cool tech.
If we have all
cool
that
tech.
tech, why are we worried
That's
Okay,
part of
But
the
that's, so that was
technology.
my question around this, which is how
I
are
think
they
we should move
accessing
on
the
to
money?
topics, guys. Just saying.
It's got to be through call center, I would think.
Yeah, that's the
Participants,
number
I think
one
we
way.
already
that's where they're
identified
getting
that.
access.
I have one other question, Erin, to wrap this subject and move on to some others.
Well, I've got
but
another one. So
the last part of the Department of Labor guidance was for the participants themselves, like a little education for them. So I have kind of a two-part question for you, Erin. One, I mean, do you think that that's really where the breaches might happen a lot, is with, participants not understanding how to protect their information? And then two, will advisors start to add that? Are you going to add that to like a classic participant education meeting where you talk about asset allocation and all these things, and then you say, all right, let's talk about how to protect your cybersecurity shit?
Thank you for the question.
What's your language, dude?
At Strategic Retirement Partners, we do a quarterly national participant webcast, and in February of 2021, we did a Safer Online webcast. Prior to April, guidelines coming out. So absolutely, but that's why it's so important to vet your record keeper, because we know that people, certainly not 100% of them, are gonna go through that. So if we can catch background noise and someone's those little things, then that's how we protect the masses. I think both are important, because in the retirement plan that's important. But what about? I just heard a story. Okay, so do you guys know the app Nextdoor? I just caught a Nextdoor thing that was like.
A lot of lost animals on
A
there.
lot of lost animals. Somebody posted about her mother who was subject to phishing and cyber crime, and maxed out her home equity line of credit.
Nice.
I'm right
Getting
here with you.
applause.
Although that's delicious. Can I just have more? No, it was like somebody called. Oh,
He's
so I'm
trying
just
to
saying
bait
I
you.
learned about it on
Initialism.
Nextdoor. And Nextdoor is like Facebook for your town.
But you
Yeah.
said, did you say?
Is he?
Did I say? I didn't
good
say
my
up. I
vote.
said I was on
He's in
Nextdoor.
the running for champion
Come
of
on,
the audience. Okay.
you're just trying to get. So anyway, that's
Okay,
retirement plan
Erin.
is one thing, but you have so many other
Yes,
accounts.
Chad.
that
I got one more question. And granted, I might be
Timeline
throwing
account for all this?
Chad always
ourselves under the
messes with my
bus.
time.
We're third-party administrators.
Oh,
We do the
man.
compliance and nerdy work. When you look at this industry and you look at the different service providers, who is the most vulnerable? Because I don't think it's the record keepers.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that
being
is an
nice.
issue
Is that
to
all
me in
you're
our
saying?
space. There are many old school third-party administrators that have zero technology and zero cybersecurity protection.
If I was counseling a criminal that wanted to do this, and again, I own a third-party administration firm, that would be my advice.
Yep.
Let's look across the country.
100%.
Let's find some smaller TPAs run by my
Yes.
Dang.
run by my father's generation,
Yes.
and let's go find the cracks and holes in their system and their
already got
personnel,
some.
and let's exploit it.
I
I knew I was
totally
going to say a
agree.
few. So.
It has to start somewhere, and I think it makes the most sense to start with the record keepers. But if you look at the guidelines, it doesn't say record keepers.
Right.
It says service
Service
providers.
providers.
And I agree, third-party
But
administrators
nobody's
are
focusing there.
not yet. I think we're trying to walk before we run. Absolutely, y'all are next. In regards to having to show what you're doing, and I don't envy your position.
Well, I do. I think it's a great opportunity.
It's an opportunity for,
differentiator.
I meant for the
Certainly.
industry, but yes, for those who are getting ahead of it and using technology and doing those things, I totally agree, opportunity. I just mean in general.
If you have a strong
Yeah.
IT guy, have you met my IT guy?
Oh, that's two.
Why?
Information
I
technology.
was trying to tell a joke. I said, my internet technology guy is drinking Coors Lights over there.
It's information technology.
Information.
Thank you, Brandon.
It's two for you, buddy.
All right.
Moving on.
Do your clients appreciate this? Do they think this is cool and new and different? Is this a value add?
No.
Thanks.
I'm going to answer for you. No. Don't they expect it? I mean, come on.
Do they expect me to be an expert on
2021.
cybersecurity of record
They
keepers?
just expect the fact that it's happening. And that
To
people
some
are-
extent, you're
Right,
correct.
there's
To some
protocol.
extent, you're
Yeah.
correct. What they appreciate is that Department of Labor guidelines came out. Department of Labor guidelines
Never heard
came
of that
out,
before.
and we have an entire process that from soup to nuts can document their process for doing so. But to some extent, yeah, they expect us to do that because we've trained them on how awesome we are to do the right thing for them and be on top of it.
Well, because of your paper, I partnered with an advisor of ours like 3 days ago. And it's a fairly large client of ours, a big bank. And we went in to do a normal fiduciary review, and I had prepped him to add
Bank's got a lot of money.
cybersecurity to the agenda. And I used your thing as kind of my guide, just to let them know, hey,
All good.
the advisor and I are going to begin this project for you to look at, benchmark, and see if you got any gaps in this stuff. And I made the comment of, because what we don't want to have happen is one of your participants come to you and say, hey, $250K is missing from my account. And I have to tell you, after all the reviewing the funds and the scores on the funds and going over the legislative updates and Secure Act, 2.0, setting up every community for blah, blah, blah. And they were stoked. They were really engaged in a way that I hadn't seen them be engaged in the past. And we left that meeting, that Zoom meeting, and the advisor called me and he's like, this is phenomenal. Like, I really feel like they think I'm doing something more for them. I was like, you are, buddy. Now we just got to figure out how the fuck we're going to do it.
If
So
your
now we're gonna-
if your regular reviews are going over investments for 90% of it, then yes, this would seem
It's an ad.
fresh.
It's a good thing. Okay, let's have some fun. Let's mix it up a little bit. We are going to, Brandon, spin the wheel of ice. But before we spin it, you are involved in this too.
Let's do it. I'm ready
Pick
to.
your
It's a
horse.
random.
I'm ready to. Oh, I don't get my own.
You do. It's a random wheel. It'll pick one of us. You have to pick which Retireholic you'd like to attach to.
Yep.
Okay.
And if it lands on them, then you have to
No,
drink along
just
with them.
wait.
I'm ride or die with Justin.
Just wait. Hopefully it doesn't happen.
Love you.
We don't have the
We don't
makers.
have makers.
So we're hoping it doesn't land on froze.
it's
If
fine.
it does, I'll grab it.
No, we'll just put brandy in.
Shoot the brandy in it. Put the brandy in it.
Brandy's
Go ahead, do the double
By the way,
wheel.
not to jinx it, but it's been how long since it came up?
Everyone?
Oh, long time.
It was like 2 weeks ago that we got everyone.
It's a long time.
Erin didn't pick which person?
Yes, you
I
did.
did. I said,
Oh,
I said
I
ride or die with
wasn't
Justin.
paying attention.
Because Justin never gets it.
I only have to pound the Smirnoff Ice. I don't have to.
But now we lose our host of the show.
Yeah, okay.
Aaron,
So you
you're
guys,
You know what I
actually,
want to
no,
go
this
back
is-
to? I want to go back to Zima.
Oh,
this is
Zima
kinda
with
like
Skittles.
How does
Yeah, I don't know.
Zima with Skittles.
I went to
was my
college,
jam
too.
in the early
Okay.
20s.
This is actually a perfect time.
Skittles?
Well,
Yeah, you
the-
drop Skittles in, change
Yeah,
the
thank you,
color
Chad.
of the Zima.
I didn't know you got
Remember,
that, I guess.
remember
99.
last night when we were drinking, I told these guys, I'm like, okay, live show, it's been a while. Don't banter among yourselves. The audience doesn't want to see you banter. And look what they're fucking doing. They're already
That's
doing
why
it.
you put me next to you.
This is perfect. While I labor on this, we have recently put out a listener line.
Oh, that's good.
Brandon. So it's 1-833-ROBE guy, I believe. You can call in, leave a message after the beep. We've gotten a lot of them. Some of them are
Some are weird.
pretty weird. Some of them are normal. Brandon has grabbed a few, and we'll listen to them, and then maybe they'll start a conversation. So we're going to hear from you out there in the world that called in and left a message.
Greg.
The listener line. There it is.
Hello there. I just wanted to give you guys a quick call. I've been a big fan for such a long time, and I just adore that big bald guy who's on the show. He doesn't talk much, but when he does, I just want to run my nails through that bald.
Wow.
Hey, Brandon. Brandon,
Trace that
get
number.
that number. I might want to call
Trace
her back.
that number.
Why do you prep us for that?
You reviewed these, right? They're not going to say anything weird. Okay. Cynthia's like, whoa, hang on.
I love the idea
All right.
that you guys don't know
We
what's
have no
coming.
idea.
Play another one.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful. Retireholics is delightful.
Right. I'm going to ask him.
But since there's nowhere it can go, the show blows, the show blows, the show blows.
He's not wrong.
That's lame.
Or she, I don't know.
I'm sure we get positive reviews.
That's
Can you play a
He's saying it's not him.
All right. And one more.
Oh, jeez.
Hey guys, this message is for JD. This is
Kate.
Kate Clark,
Oh,
one of your favorite advisors, and I'm on the ride home and listening to my favorite podcast, Retireholics, and just came to the episode with Josh Itzo where JD literally just broke my heart. He just said that there are no advisors out there in the micro plan space that are consulting with their plan sponsors about paying the record keeper fees out of pocket as a deductible business expense versus leaving them in the plan.
That's not true.
I'm crushed. It's as if I don't even freaking exist, JD. There are advisors that do that. And I happen to be
There's
one
more.
of them. Thanks.
Okay.
I got on you about that one.
Thank you, Kate, for calling in.
One
I don't believe I.
serious one. One serious. Thank you, Kate.
Well, Brandon's picking from those. Okay, if I got her, she was saying she sets up her clients to write a check for their services, potentially for her as an advisor,
Yes.
for the record.
I was going to say, her point was record-keeping fees.
Record-keeping service.
Specifically.
Most third-party administrators do a lot of that with a little sliver of revenue share. Erin, you're our guest. Kick the question to you. What your clients average? What, 10 to 15 million or something?
12.568.
I'm pretty damn good then. Do you have clients, or what percentage, if you're willing to share it, where you say, look, it's not going to, actually, I shouldn't say it's not going to be an asset charge. It could be a fluctuating charge. It's just not going to come from the participants' accounts. You're going to bill the client, they're going to write a check for it. Do you do that?
Yeah, so let me pull from my old Paychex days. I used to work at Paychex. And don't get mad at me. I know. Hey, I'm just saying I used to work there. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot at Paychex. And what I learned is that companies put out a retirement plan, in particular start up a retirement plan, usually for one of two reasons. The first reason is they want to be competitive and, put it in place for their employees to
That's the
recruit and
second.
retain
That's gotta be the second reason.
employees. which is the second reason. The number one reason is because they want to put away the money themselves.
Tax
We do a
efficiency.
safe harbor plan, tax efficiency. And so when I'm sitting across from a business owner, I ask her, well, do you want to pay for this out of your retirement savings, or do you want to write off for your business? And most of the time the answer was option B. And so, yeah, I think if you do it right, and if you're thinking about who this plan is for, who's got the money in it, then it makes a lot of sense to pay for it out of the company coffers, write it off, call it a
Why
day.
is your example only in the startup space? Like,
It was
is
just
this
my
happening
experience.
mid-market?
That was just my experience, just that because mostly what I did when I was at Paychex was
Does it
startups.
change? Does it change from micro to small to mid to mega? Is it a different?
It depends. I think in my experience, I have clients, I have an $8 million plan that's very, very benevolent, and they pay for all fees, my fee, everyone outside of the plan. But I think the bigger the plan is, how much money are we talking about? It's a real small percentage of assets, so most of those are
But it's
still
a real
paid
small
out of-
percentage of overall budget for that
Great
business
point,
owner.
Chad. Great point.
So I don't understand why even you mentioned an $8 million client that's benevolent.
Don't try to say that
I'm
word.
trying to stick to the big words, Mark.
Wow.
Why? That should be a common practice. They should be covering those costs.
You know why?
And I don't understand
Well,
why
I'll
it
tell
has
you-
to change.
yeah,
I'll
because
tell
it's
you why I
efficiency
think
or it's not.
professional employer plans are going to make a lot of money. Pooled
Pooled.
employer plans, sorry.
Don't get me
Pooled
started
employer
on
plans.
that.
Yeah, nobody notices the stands for it. It's fine.
I was thinking of professional employer
I was just
organization.
going to say, we know, saw the LinkedIn. Hey, buddy.
Pooled
Desenzo.
employer plans, I think, are
Pipe
going to
down
get a
back
lot
there,
of
buddy.
traction with the mid-market because they don't even want to pay for a $15,000 audit.
Right.
So
Yeah, and in my
I
point
have a
of view,
$55 million plan that's
bullshit.
like, tell me more about that pooled employer plan.
Oh, God.
that's a failure to me as an industry to help them understand what their obligations for this benefit should be. And we do it at the micro level, the level that I'm spending most of my time in. We fail to press upon that client that these are costs that you should be taking on. They're a deductible expense, great, but these are costs you should be taking on in order to offer an appropriate benefit
Especially
for your
if you're
participants.
concerned with your fiduciary responsibility and acting in the best interest of the participants.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Absolutely. And if you're a $50 million plan and you've got 500 employees, chucking out 75 grand, 125 grand to cover your plan all in is not a big line item. And here's what I think, and I know this is going to sound a little controversial and not good for the room. I think we're a bunch of wussies. And I think that it's
Speak
much
for yourself.
easier to step into a point of sale and to a client in a takeover, because you couldn't go to them and say, hey, I know that you currently pay nothing, but if you come to me, we're going to invoice you, the record keeper, the advisor, the administrator, whatever, $150,000. Do you want to come work with us? No one's got that gumption to get in there and do that. It's much easier to get in there and say,
JD.
oh, currently you're paying 75
thoughts on
basis
this.
points. You come to me and we'll be 68. Like, let's do a great deal. That's sending our whole industry in the wrong direction, and no one's having this conversation enough. I surely know it's not happening in the small market. You guys tell me you've sold hundreds of plans throughout COVID. Not exaggerating, hundreds in the micro market. How many of those are advisors talking to those clients about writing a check for those services?
Well,
How many?
zero.
5 out of 250 plans?
We're talking about
We're
it.
talking about
Yeah,
it. Advisors, different story in that space, but it's coming up on 20% of
Erin,
conversations.
you're shaking your head at me like I'm wrong. That's
No,
not.
I think you're making an interesting point. I think if a company has a $50 million plan with 500 employees, what difference is $25,000 going to make to the employees versus taking that, because we're talking less than a basis point or a basis
I'll
point
tell you
or
the
2 basis
difference.
points. But if we repurpose those dollars into something like a financial wellness program, a student loan repayment benefit program,
Fair.
because they're not the whole idea of giving their participants more is great if the participants know it. But what you're talking about, they're not getting the credit from their participants for doing that. But you know what? They will get the credit for their participants, putting a student loan
Giving a match.
I like
repayment,
that.
doing a match. So I don't argue with the idea of the dollars. I would just rather see if we have an extra $100,000, and you have $50 million, don't we got what we got. Let's do other things that are going to create more credit for you and retain and recruit your employees.
I love that, and I'm not just saying that because you're here on the couch, but
you are.
No. I like the idea of pushing it to something else that's beneficial for the participants, but I don't care if it's 1 million, 10 million, 50 million, or $1 billion, and if it's a 5 basis points or half of a basis point, what that is cash in a participant's pocket. So you look at it as, oh, it's only 2 basis points.
We'll compound.
Well, it's only 1. No, it's not. That's money in people's pockets.
I have a
that
question
means a
for
lot to
you.
them.
Do you pay our advisor a flat fee, or do we have basis
Oh,
points in
fuck
our
no. I build that into the assets.
There you go.
So that's kind of a...
It's a CFO question.
Oh,
really.
what? There we go. Ding
It's
her,
a
Mark.
CFO question.
She's got a drink.
Chief Financial Officer.
Chief Financial Officer, conundrum.
Say it right.
My question would be this, Erin, and I heard it from a couple other folks that spoke earlier today, and it seemed to me what I heard is that there was this
Thank you.
negative mention
Do
of
I have today?
flat fees.
Pocket beer.
Why can't we look at record keepers? Why can't we look at TPAs? Damn it. Why can't we look at service providers and expect a flat fee? Why is a flat fee a bad thing in our world?
Are you differentiating between record keepers, advisors, or third-party administrators?
Let's stick with record keepers, and
Sure.
let's move to advisors.
Okay.
Okay, in the micro space, there's already flat or billable fees built into the program anyways. In like,
Hybrids.
But most of them,
Yes,
Mark,
but
are a
it's-
percentage of assets that they're invoicing. It is still a
No.
basis point that grows as the plan grows.
Well, different record keepers have different philosophies on that. There certainly are record keepers who love to tout their fee-for-service schedule. The others, and maybe the bigger names that we're aware of, they do it as a percentage of assets because they're creating their fee structure based on a 3 to 5 year time horizon of growth of assets and the like. They're amortizing it so that they can charge a lower fee today, knowing that in 3 to 5 years they're going to make up some with asset
Talking
growth.
small market stuff,
Small,
right? Like,
micro market.
I'm not talking that you think that's small market?
You think that's mid-market. They're not profitable in a 12-month time period for a record keeper in mid-market.
Not mine, because I
and
squeeze them for every dollar.
They need 6 years of getting that to get to an asset growth to get to a point of
Perhaps
profit.
that's an issue
Other-
with fee compression, Erin.
That just sounds like dumb
Perhaps,
business
but
to
that
me
wasn't
then.
the
Like,
question.
I don't.
But perhaps. I also know and think that if you have a conversation with a record keeper, they may be amiable to doing a flat fee, but it's going to equate to a higher percentage of assets today than it would be if you did a
Is
a
that right for your
percentage.
client? A little more upfront. Average client retention in our world is 8 years, right? For most record keepers. So is that right for your client? And this is the trouble I fight with JD over, is I feel like we're making a decision that is not right for our client when we go to an asset-based model.
It's old habits. It's just the way we've
It's
done it.
the way it's always been.
Yeah.
Yep. Which is why when you're talking 1 and
And I've
25
seen.
earlier,
Well,
like,
we'll get to that
And by
later.
flat
but-
fee, you mean base fee plus a per participant charge? Because if an
What?
organization goes
Who
and
knows?
grows and adds 100 participants, you're not saying.
you need to make more money at that point. Your service model
Speaking
is
from
changing.
a record keeper perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there's more amiable record keepers than we might think to doing a base fee plus participant model. We're just not asking.
Let
That's
me-
fair.
Here what I will tell you is we live and breathe and sleep this stuff. And this all makes sense to us to have this conversation. If we invited in a plan sponsor and a participant to listen, this is absurd to them. This is absolutely absurd. They feel as consumers that they should be able to go to a marketplace and buy something for a price. And it should be that simple. It shouldn't have all this waving around. Now, and trust me, I'm part of the industry too, man. I mean, I make hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue share as a third-party
Ooh, you
administrator.
fancy.
So I'm not trying to point fingers at
everything around me. Queen, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
Fred Orisha, the only one living in mansions. But and so
Have you seen your house?
But I also don't think we need to just keep doing things the same old way. We need to think about
Amen.
what it's
That's
going to
fair,
look
that's
like
fair.
in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And
So there's-
fee structure might be an important thing to look at.
There's some interesting thoughts running through the chat bar right now. and
What
talking
up, chat
about,
bar?
Whoa,
Hey,
the chat bar. I
we
forgot
got the
about
chat
those
bar.
people.
A lot of people are talking about your legs still. You need to close them.
I'm wearing shorts.
I was going to say, ain't talking about me.
But
I'm wearing clothes
you know,
under the robe.
they're talking about how is there a hybrid model of that, okay? Maybe do.
Of course.
Barbara talked about it this morning.
There are record keepers that are open to that flat fee model. They're saying, hey, maybe the advisor should be the ones pushing that more. They're saying, hey, maybe you could do asset-based fee until a certain level of assets.
Creativity, new ways.
Can I ask a question of the room? Because we have a different audience than we normally have in a given show. And I asked the question last week, which is, are there any advisors that will tell a client, I'm going to invoice you for my fiduciary services? The services I'm delivering to the committee, I'm going to invoice you, but then I'm going to charge to assets my time and effort that I'm spending with the participants.
There's one, yeah, there's two.
Wow.
Plus,
I've never...
Hey, everyone open up your phones. We're going to pull up that polling thing again. You guys want to do the polling thing again? We'll ask. I'm kidding. Never mind.
Oh, do I get to vote now?
That's awesome, though. Kudos, because I do believe that is a flavor of future that none of us have really looked at, and I love that.
I think we need to change the conversation when we talk to the plan sponsor. It's about their benefit spend. So if you talk about health insurance, what they're paying for that, our fees and record keeping are minuscule. So if we take control of the healthcare system in this country, we'll change the world.
You were talking about that earlier, Barbara, and I heard you. This convergence is real, and then and looking at as an advisor, as more of a consultant to the HR department and the finance, human resources. Yeah, this is good stuff. This is interesting.
Go on.
I will say, from an advisor perspective, I certainly have followed that model that Barbara was talking about earlier of a fee plus a basis points. I haven't broken it out in a here's what I do for the fee, here's what I do for the basis points, nor have I charged for the fee, the base fee separate than the asset charge, but certainly just the idea of base plus.
I don't even care how it goes. You want to come up here, Barbara? You want to sit right here?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. If you're for any non-settler functions, we do bill direct. That's a really important point. Settler versus non-settler. Yeah.
Settler. That's
Yeah.
the new one.
Settler.
Well, I just think it's something as an industry we need to keep pushing that narrative and that concept and start to. And by the way, you don't have to go in and sell one thing. You could go into your clients and say, "Hey, these are your options." Like you could do this, or we can do a hybrid. And maybe as advisors, as in a community, you all could just kind of keep pushing it a little bit. Let's open up for a little more of billable and head down the right path. They it becomes palatable for them, and then you can move further.
I know you want to move on from this topic.
I so want to move on.
But let me make one last comment, because I was bitching about this over there this morning to you. There was a question asked to our panelists of, is it okay to have different service models for different costs? And both said no. Like, it's defeating, it's diminishing the value that we bring. And my comment to you, JD, was it shouldn't be whether or not Erin offers different service models for different costs. It should be whether or not the advisor community offers different service models for different costs. If you have two-plan Tony, which was talked about, two-plan Tony should not be charging what Erin charges. Period. Because they're not.
I'm not
delivering the
greedy.
same level
I'm
of
just
service.
worth a lot.
Well, my point is that it's okay if you don't want to have different service models. But the industry needs to, because clients don't always want what Erin has.
There's an advisor in my market who will charge $15,000 for investment 321 fiduciary, no matter what the size, and good for you.
Doesn't matter.
What about someone that charges double what you do that sits in the office every day? That should be okay.
Sure.
You ready for the skeletons in the closets, the honesty and transparency? You guys, as a sales team, came up with this great, I won't call it low service, but it's low-cost solution for us as a company at Plan Design Consultants. We call it Kickstart, where we do administrative services for $1,000 flat per year, maybe like a third or a fourth of like our average fees for a client. And we were really excited about this. And it's built around really simple design, right? We basically don't have to do jack shit. Like, we make it a safe harbor, we make it a per period match, all these different types of things. And it was a great idea, and I was really excited about it. And this is to this concept of offering a lower service, lower cost solution to your client.
Service.
I preface that, but it's in a sense it is.
Doesn't it have to be?
And I was really excited about this. I felt like these clients were gonna be like,
That's too. Dumb.
We don't have to do certain testing.
I I felt like these clients were gonna be like, oh wow, thanks for like this great deal. Like we're so stoked to be on this different program. Here's the fact of the world. I've been in this for 4 years now with this new program. They don't get it.
They don't.
They don't understand.
They do at the point of sale, JD.
And
After that, they
my
do
team
not.
ends up talking to them, and they just don't. And by the way, how are you going to stop that? Are you going to communicate more to go to those clients and say, hey, don't forget, you're on our low service, low fee program. Like you should be happy. We do less for you. And then doesn't that defeat the purpose in the first place? So you need to communicate with them more and spend more time with them so they understand it. And by the way, just having that conversation is freaking awkward to say like, oh, we give you lower service, different stuff, but it's really cheap. Just be careful because I'm in the middle of that right now. And these guys love it because they sell a bunch of plans with it. But I end up with a lot of clients that I don't think understand that they're in anything different than the rest of my clients. And they expect and demand the services of the rest of my clients. And I'm kind of sitting here now going, shit, was this such a great idea? So
and what's ironic
be careful.
About that too,
be
JD.
careful what you design for your advisor practices.
What's ironic
Are you
about that
playing
too?
tic-tac-toe?
Hey, let's
You are.
Let's move on to a fun game, okay? It's everyone's favorite Retireholic and everyone's favorite game.
Say it.
You're supposed to say it.
Say it.
It's the lame or game game.
Slammer game game.
It's pretty simple.
See if you're prepared.
How's it
I have
work?
an old game console in my basement where I still play.
Is it
Super
old,
Mario
or
Brothers
is it new that
1.
has like
Duck
70,000
No, it's old.
games?
It's no.
There's a term for that, right?
It's the Nintendo, where you have to go and put the
Yeah.
thing in and the whole jam.
On the game.
Absolutely. And I love it.
All right.
And I can never get past Bowser, and it makes me mad because when I was a kid, I could. Okay, go.
Feels getting so. This is my time.
Sorry.
How does the game work, Mark?
All right, just the watching audience and the interwebs understands, but for those in the live audience, for the game, it's very simple. I'll ask a question. You're either game or you think it's lame. Is that easy enough? Does that make sense?
You guys can play along.
Yeah, no, I would appreciate
Caesar
some
style.
interaction because I think conversation up here is getting a little stale, if I might say myself. Not you. Chad's
Jeez.
speaking a lot. Okay, my first question, and Erin, I will always come to you first.
Oh, thanks.
What do you call it when, so let's say I call you, you don't answer. And then you call me, and I'm like, decline, and I don't answer. And then I call you back, and you're like, what is that? What is that process?
Phone tag.
Right, okay. So now we're playing that game, right? But on a message, do you say and utter the words, tag, you're it,
Lame.
lame or game?
Lame.
You're all liars. You all say it.
They all do it.
For sure.
I do it.
Yeah, you do.
I do it for sure.
I also never. I don't. Good one. That brick thing that gives me all my information and runs my whole life. I rarely use it as a communication method, verbal to verbal, unless it's with my parents.
Who even leaves messages?
Yeah. Right.
That's a
I
really
agree.
good question.
I love
yeah.
If you don't leave me a message, I'm not calling you back.
Okay, so
I'm just gonna
hold on,
text
Slammer
you.
game.
Here we go.
Lame.
Erin, all right. JD.
I've done it, but it definitely seems lame now that I think about it.
Justin.
It's lame.
I did it today.
The audience has spoken.
Did it today?
Okay.
Tag, you're in.
Oh, you're in.
I'm all
Of
game,
course
baby.
you are. Tag,
I'm
you're
all
it.
game.
It's Chad Johansson. Tag, you're it.
Yeah, he likes that. So I saw. Did anyone else walk through the scary haunted house through the? Yeah, maybe. Anyone else get scared?
It's cool.
Like I
You
did?
should check it out.
And anyways, there's pumpkins there, right? I'm just curious. Carving pumpkins. Lamer game.
Total game. Total. I have kids. I have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. Game as it gets.
That's everyone.
And I make them
right
pull
there.
the guts out
Well, that's
My
because
daughter
it's
won't
good.
do it.
It's good character building.
My
JD.
son wears it like hair.
It's not
My
your
daughter-
turn.
Okay, that's cool.
Sorry,
JD.
Mark.
Mark runs the show. This is the game. My kids are 23, 19, and
I didn't ask for a
17.
story. An
So
answer.
it's less of a thing. When they're young, I think it's cool, but I'm over that shit now.
Cool at all. Justin.
Yeah, not my thing. If I had kids, maybe, but no.
I don't care if I have kids. It's the worst thing ever. Chad?
Game. All game.
The worst thing is I live in California, and like if you carve it on a Monday, on Thursday it's rotten.
It's all falling in.
It's disgusting. And the first
100%.
time my kids were old enough, and I learned that, I got to the pumpkin like way too late. Went to pick it up, the whole bottom fell out, and
That's gross.
I've had that happen inside my house.
So now we carve them like October 30th.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Fairmont, you're a beautiful place, but it's September, dude. Like, Halloween's not even close.
It's true. I didn't even think of it.
No, right? It's September, dude. Okay. Sorry. Talking sports, JD. You're a football fan. You're a sports fan.
Yeah.
Now, and I stole this one from Chad earlier, forcing your kids, and if you don't have kids, maybe niece, nephew, kid down the street, I don't know, kid you saw in the store, forcing them to like the same sport team that you like. And I'll preface this with, I'm wearing a Raiders shirt, and I told my daughter and my son, I don't care who you like, but if you don't like the Raiders, get out.
Yeah, I will go with forcing, using the word force
No,
as lame.
forcefully,
But
like,
lame.
you
But what I
have
will
to.
tell you is my 8-year-old son, also rabid Bills fan, but it's because I like more bees with honey.
Don't
Right?
act
He
like you
sees
gave him
my
an option.
He absolutely has. My husband is from Boston. I married him anyway.
There's a simple
And
question.
you converted him to a Bills fan. Oh, we've seen
He
the videos.
supports
There you
us.
go.
Brandon, play the Ghost
That's my
Sports
kids.
thing if you can.
There's
please.
my kids.
Is your answer lame
He's
or
not
game?
wearing. It's gay. It's a lame in the forcing. What I'm saying is,
it's-
my
that-
kids love it because they love my fandom.
He looks like he's into more of a support role
He's
than
happy
a
for me.
celebration
Yes, thank
role.
you, Justin. He's
Like,
not wearing it. Everyone else
yeah,
is wearing
I'm
Bills.
with
He's
Aaron on
not.
this one.
JD?
I'm a big butt there.
Lamer game?
I forgot the question,
Yeah.
so I'm going to say lame.
Definitely lame. I'll be your proxy. Lame for you.
If you do it right, it's going to happen anyway. So
Chad?
Game.
All right.
Force him in. I'm all game tonight.
And usually I only do 3 questions, but I got a 4th bonus one.
Good.
Because it's a little
Well, hurry
bit
up,
of a
'cause we
personal
got 4 minutes
experience
and 40
from about,
seconds.
Okay.
I don't know, 11 hours ago, or I can't do math. So showing up at like a legit, button-up, well-run conference.
Like this one.
At 8 a.m., like this morning. In blue shorts and a t-shirt while everyone else was in suit and ties, and then walking up and
Schaff.
having breakfast. Lamer game.
Wait, he was lame for doing that? I like that. I love you guys.
Okay.
Wear a blazer, you punk.
Wow.
I will
That's for
quote
you, Mark.
RuPaul, which is, dress for, the job you want and
Dress
the role you
to
want,
impress.
and you're trying to impress and all this stuff.
That's
And,
an old
wear a
man's mentality.
suit.
I pretty much have the job that I need. I don't
fair enough.
want
Then-
this job.
So I'm gonna go with gay, but
but
Mark, I can help you with that.
next is
He
JD.
knows I'll never fire him.
Yeah. I have way too much dirt on you.
I definitely think it's 130 million degrees outside.
Yep.
So put on a beanie and a jacket and some clothes. You were game for wearing your shorts.
All right. Justin?
I support you, pal.
Thanks, buddy.
Welcome.
I support you as well, Mark. And I will say, Dion says you got to look good to play good. You got to play good to get paid good. So I support all of you out there that dressed over the top
round
today.
I wore my most Arizona outfit
Hey,
for y'all today, by the way.
I wore pants today. I wore pants today.
Like,
not
okay, this is
usually
the
wear
most
pants?
dressed
Is that
down
it?
you've ever
Missouri
been.
does it.
true, I'm not
Well, you know what they say.
Thanks. I queued
know
him
what
for
they
his
say.
tagline. You know what they say. That was another edition of the Lamer game.
Hold your applause.
Todd was with you.
I know.
Todd's playing
he's-
tic-tac-toe.
yeah, he gets
We're running
it.
out of time, so
have 8 more
one quick
bullet
mini
points there.
subject for you, and then we'll go to voting for the champion of the audience. And we've got some contenders. We've got some people
Yeah,
here.
Todd's out for playing tic-tac-toe.
Recently, I was listening to you on a podcast. They were interviewing you, and the
Which
host.
podcast?
The host said.
So many.
So many. The host said. Mark, stop.
My rub.
Disrupting Mark.
The host said, hey, we're finally getting out of COVID. You must be excited. Get a leave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, yeah.
Hashtag nerd alert. Thanks, buddy.
Going with wow.
The host says, we're getting out of COVID. And,
Oh, he did it again!
you fucker.
He didn't expect
And,
that one.
We're getting out of this pandemic. And you gotta leave Zoom behind, get back to your clients. And you had a weird response that caught me off guard. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I think what I said was I told my business partner I'm never seeing people again.
Yes, that was it.
Yeah, which is a little tongue-in-cheek, but the virtual model has created so much productivity, harmony in between my professional and personal career, flexibility in the hours that I work, reduction in wear and tear on my car, overhead, profitability, and the like. So to the extent that I can leverage this experience and the comfortability that our clients have with doing these types of meetings virtually, I am leaning in 100%. What we have found is our clients are also leaning into a hybrid environment. Over 50% of executives are Gen X. And you know what Gen Xers like me care about? Flexibility. Don't tell me when I need to do my work. I'm going to get it done.
Right.
So if the executives that we're working with are also going to be flexible, hybrid, working from home, models, the 401k meeting is the kind of meeting they want to take from their bedroom, from their living room. So, and we schedule our meetings, our next meeting as a last agenda item of the current meeting. So if
We think you've violated the
Yeah, you
rule.
did twice.
Are you kidding? I'm going to pull a Stallone in Demolition Man Acrosin just to drink the rest of this. I'm just going to take it to the face.
We love that thing. What was that called?
Oh, the three
what
seashells. He doesn't know of the three seashells.
No, I know what that
What I like that I heard from you was, I think a lot of us, and I've heard this today at this conference, of like, oh, I can't wait to get back to normal, and
It's not the same. God,
it's not my clients
damn
want.
it if I hear that
My
again.
clients want to get back to the same, and I saw this from a lot of speakers today. It was a vibe I picked up, and you on that podcast shocked me with this, like, hell no, I'm sticking in this mode, and there's no right answer here. I do think that the wrong answer is don't get stuck in the old way and think that you want to just go back to running your model that way, because most clients and people don't. Even if you do, and you thought the good old days were great when you could put on your blazer and go down to your client, meet with them, and talk to the participants, good for you, buddy. But your clients might not want that anymore. And maybe it's a hybrid. Yes, buddy. I love you, bud. Even though you like those pooled employer plans, I still love you. So try to think outside the box, try to evolve a little bit. And then we're going to talk about this a lot, but we can't run out of time. But think about creative ways that you can embrace it. I know you are doing this.
Yeah.
And make it more efficient, make it more valuable for your clients.
We will never go back to the way it was.
Never.
Tons
Thank
of
goodness.
options. Tons of options.
And what I'll say is we've been able to add a virtual component to the engagement we have with participants that's gone over really well. So I will take that trade-off of doing, more work with participants. And maybe that's at 7 p.m. at night sometimes when they're home or whatever. But
what does it stand for?
Oh, God. PM, really?
That you did again?
Did you miss it?
Do you know?
Todd?
I said 7 p.m.
That's the third time.
Come on, I was just
Mark.
Oh my God, you're
Post-meridian,
so
not
getting
prime.
my vote for.
You win.
Okay, we have
Anyway.
we're out of time.
The only comment I'll make is if we continue to go back to the way we were, we will never progress forward. We have to look at this and say, we need to find a better way of accomplishing what we always have. We cannot go back to needing to be in person for every single meeting. It can't go that way.
Oh, you can. You just might not take advantage
A
of.
person can. Our industry cannot.
Fair enough.
We cannot
Yeah, I don't
do
wanna wear
that as
pants,
a business.
Okay. It's time for, hopefully there was some
Dang,
good
I
chat.
killed it, y'all. I crushed Acrosin.
Was Acrosin? How did we do?
11.
It's close to the
Out there in Chat Bar Champion, I know you guys were tearing it up in the chat bar, so we'll find a champion for you and you'll pick your mug, and that still is in play. But for here in the audience, let's choose a champion. Everyone gets a vote. Whoever gets the most
on the
votes
count of 3.
wins. Really? No.
Okay.
Justin, your vote from this audience. You're taking Nerd Alert?
Nerd alert.
Okay. Chad.
It's Todd. I wanted to vote for Chris because he smiled at me a few times and it made me feel good, but I'm going for Todd. I can't leave Todd out of this.
Todd?
Let's do good.
This Todd.
Wait, which Nerd Alert?
Acrosin Todd. Yeah, we'll call him Nerd Alert Todd.
Okay.
Hey,
I'll take
nerd
Barbara.
right here.
I'll
I'm
take
with
Barbara.
Barbara was good. Yes, thank you for the value, Barbara. That never wins in the Chat Bar Champion.
you. The value never wins.
Mark?
I'm gonna go against the grain here. Anita?
Yeah.
Right there.
Yes,
Thumb
for
down.
sure.
Anita's-
I'm going Nerd Alert. So your champion for the audience, it's Mr. Nerd Alert. You come on over to the table. We'll get you.
Thanks for keeping me honest, Todd.
You go over to that table, sit on
Swag.
the ground, and wait for us to finish the show. We'll get you some stuff. Thank you, Erin, for
thank
being
you
a guest
guys.
on the
Erin.
show.
Awesome to be here.
Thank you, everyone here. We really appreciate the support. Thank you out there on the internet. We love you guys for tuning in every Thursday. Thanks to the freaking nerds back there in the AV. You guys killed it. We loved it.
Thank you for hiding my burps.
Brandon,
I appreciate that.
Brandon, I love you too.
Cynthia,
institutional investor, the crew, your whole crew. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. We're out.